I put together a parlay with total odds of 15. Let's break it down. First pick, Canada versus Qatar. I found a very interesting option for the parlay here, and now I'll explain why I like it. In my opinion, bookmakers are slightly overestimating the chances of high-scoring game, even though both teams actually come into this match with very similar trends. Let's start with Canada. The opening round was quite nervous for the tournament hosts. The Canadians conceded first against Bosnia, struggled for a long time to find a way through their opponent's defense, and only managed to rescue a draw late in the game. At the same time, it cannot be said that the team created a huge number of chances. Yes, they had territorial dominance, but they had problems against a set defense. In general, Canada has a very interesting statistic right now. The team has not lost in a long time, but recently they have accumulated even more draws than wins. Many of their matches turn into tight and cautious affairs. This is especially true against opponents who are willing to sit deep in defense. Please leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you will find truly deep and well-argued match analysis. Thank you, let's keep going. Now let's look at Qatar. Honestly, their result in the first round looks like a real gift from fate. Against Switzerland, the team spent almost the entire match defending and was clearly second best on the field. The Swiss created a huge number of chances and should have scored much more than one goal. But in the end, Qatar somehow survived until the closing stage and managed to equalize. However, it's important to understand that this kind of scenario is unlikely to repeat itself regularly. After the match, the coaching staff will surely draw conclusions and focus even more on defense, especially considering that the draw in the first round led them with a good chance of fighting for a playoff spot. Because of that, opening the game up right now is absolutely not in Qatar's interest. If you look at the recent matches of both national teams, one common trend immediately stands out. Canada plays low-scoring matches. Qatar plays low-scoring matches. Both teams have issues with finishing chances. At the same time, the cost of a mistake in the second round becomes much higher than it was in the first start of the tournament. I think we are going to see a very cautious game here. Canada will have more possession and try to break down the opponent's defense. Qatar will most likely drop into a deep block again and rely on counterattacks through acca. But expecting open football here is quite difficult. Another factor is the possible absence of Alphonso Davies. If Canada's leader is indeed unable to stop the match, the host's attacking potential will decrease noticeably. And it's precisely Davies' pace and individual quality that often help break down packed defenses. Therefore, for the parlay, I'm taking under 3 goals. For the wild parlay, I'll be taking 1x plus under 2.5 goals at odds of around 2.2. Guys, here's my Telegram and my stats. I work as transparently and honestly as possible. I even pay taxes as an individual entrepreneur. I am one of the few in this space who actually works openly and fairly. The link is in the description below. Second pick, Mexico versus South Korea. This is one of the most interesting matches of the second round of the group stage in my opinion. Two teams that started with victories meet here, and both can already make a serious statement toward qualifying for the playoffs. That's why this game promises to be open and quite entertaining. Let's start with Mexico. In first round, the hosts confidently defeated South Africa 2-0. Yes, the opponent helped with a red card and several mistakes, but the main thing is different. Mexico completely controlled the match and allowed almost nothing near their own goal. Javier Aguirre's team extended its unbeaten streak to 9 matches and comes into this game in excellent spirits. However, there is one important detail. Because of suspension, starting center-back and captain Cesar Montes will miss the match. That's a serious loss for Mexico's defense, especially against such a quick and mobile opponent as South Korea. The Koreans left a very positive impression in their game against the Czech Republic. The team was trailing during the match but didn't collapse mentally, improved after halftime, and deservedly won 2-1. In terms of movement, intensity, and work rate, the Asians look extremely strong. South Korea currently has an excellent attacking group. Song Tae-min remains the leader of the team. Lee Kang-in is enjoying one of the best periods of his career, and attack as a whole is capable of causing problems for almost any defense, especially considering that Mexico will be playing without one of its key defenders. At the same time, Mexico regularly creates chances as well. The team has scored at least one goal in several consecutive matches. At home, backed by their fans, the Mexicans certainly will not sit back and play for a draw, especially because a victory would practically guarantee qualification for the playoffs. I think the perfect scenario for a high-scoring game is developing here. Both teams won their opening matches, both possess quality attacking players, and the cost of defeat is not high enough for either side to completely shut up shop. The head-to-head history also hits at an entertaining game. At the 1998 World Cup, Mexico won 3-1, and at the 2018 World Cup, they've won 2-1. Statistically, both teams often prefer attacking football. Therefore, for the parlay, I'm taking over 2 goals. For the wild parlay, I'll be taking 1-2, plus both teams to score a total of around 3.2. Guys, when it comes to big odds, I don't like using my main bankroll, because anything above 2 is still risky. That's why I usually prefer using welcome bonuses from partners. I signed up, made the minimum deposit, and received 5 bonus activations. Basically, I load 1 parlay onto each bonus specifically for these high odds. If the bet wins, the bonus multiplies by the big odds and moves into my main bankroll, which I can then withdraw. If it is loses, I don't spend money from my main bankroll, which is also nice. The partner is official and reliable. I've left the link to the bonuses and full conditions in the pinned message on my Telegram channel. The promotion is still active for now. Let's keep going. There is one more match that I analyze it as a single bet, but it can also be added to the parlay, although the options there are a bit riskier. USA versus Australia. A very interesting second round match between 2 teams that both started with victories. Before the tournament, many expected a cautious game focused on the result, but after the opening matches, the picture looks completely different. The United States was one of the brightest teams of the first round. Mauricio Pochettino's side absolutely crushed Paraguay in the first half and led 3-0 by the break. They eventually won 4-1 and displayed very high-quality attacking football. I especially liked how the Americans moved to the ball and pressed it immediately after losing possession. However, the USA is far from a perfect team. There is one important issue: the defense. The Americans regularly make mistakes when playing with a high defensive line and conceded in almost every serious match. Even against Paraguay, they couldn't completely avoid problems. That's why the option of Australia scoring looks like very realistic here. Australia produced one of the biggest surprises of the World Cup in the first round. Tony Popovic's team defeated Turkey 2-0, and they did it exactly the way they know best. They gave possession away, stayed patient without the ball, and then punished their opponent through counterattacks and set pieces. This style has been the trademark of the Socceroos for many years. Australia does not try to dominate possession, but they are extremely dangerous in transition phases. That's exactly why the Americans could face problems here. Pochettino prefers aggressive football with a high press, and teams that play this way often leave space behind their defense. Another important factor is the tournament situation. A victory would almost guarantee a playoff spot for one of these teams. Therefore, neither side is likely to shoot back and play for a goalless draw, especially not the Americans, who are playing at home and riding the momentum of their dominant win over Paraguay. In terms of squad quality, the USA looks strong. Pulisic, Balogun, Weah, and Reina are capable of causing problems for any defense. I was particularly impressed by Balogun, who scored a brace in the first round and is currently in excellent form. But Australia know an easy opponent either. They know how to stay patient, wait for mistakes, and finish their chances very efficiently. Turkey already learned that lesson the hard way. That's why I like a goals-related option here. The USA plays attacking football, Australia thrives on counterattacks, and both teams have already shown their scoring ability in the opening round. For the parlay, I am taking over 2 goals. For the wild parlay, I'll be taking 1x plus both teams to score a total of around 2.2.